Hey guys, AKRC Guy here, and today I want to talk about a really cool upgrade for your Phantom, especially for the guys who are running a gimbal on the bottom or a camera on the bottom. Now, for those of you who watch my basic how to do FPV on the Phantom or the Tarot 2D gimbal installation part 1 or 2, you know that I've had a couple different methods of getting that gear a little bit higher off the ground to allow for clearance on the gimbal. I started out with doing the foam insulation tubing like a lot of people do. The problem with that is what I didn't like is it actually creates something big and bulky for the wind to catch when you're up there flying, and it did make the copter a little unstable on the ground when it landed. So I got rid of the foam. Next thing I did is I went out and I got some 1/4-inch wood dowels. I cut them, I think they're 5 inches long, and I basically zip tied those to the inside of the stock legs. That gave me a little bit more clearance for the gimbal. I'm going to show you something really cool I came across, and I'll put a link down in the description. This is the new Phantom extended gear. And you can see quite a bit higher stance, quite a bit wider stance. These gear are actually 4 centimeters higher than the stock gear, and they're 8 centimeters wider, which gives you an overall stance of about 9 inches wide. So it gives you a better stability when you're landing in rougher terrain. But the big difference is the height. You're gaining a lot of height for your gimbal down here. No issues at all for that Tarot gimbal on the bottom. And the cool thing is, no additional weight over the stock landing gear. So let's get into some close-up shots and we'll talk a little bit more about the gear. One thing, the biggest thing I'd say with the install, the standard install goes on just like the factory gear. The company does provide hardware. If you're like me, you've got each one of those access holes occupied with something. I've got wires for power, the gimbal, the servo, the compass. So just to put that gear on, I had to essentially take the whole Phantom apart and get all my wires back through those holes. But other than that, the gear goes on like the stock gear. You do want to make sure that you install that magnetic compass in as close to as possible the exact position you took it off. Now keep in mind, because that gear is longer, it's going to be pushed down a little bit further away from the helicopter. So you want to make sure whatever angle it was on the gear and about approximately how high it is off the stock gear, that you put it back in the same spot. And then the most important thing, of course, after that is to go out and do a compass calibration. Now after I got my Phantom disassembled to reroute the cabling, put it all back together, put the gear on, made sure that compass was lined up on there, left the props off, went outside, let it boot up, get a GPS signal, do the compass dance, get a solid compass connection, make sure it's all, you're getting the lights where you should. You know, and the proper way to do that, when you flick that switch and you get your solid orange light back here, is to rotate it horizontally 360 until the light flashes, and then take the copter and go nose down and do it 360 until the light goes off or goes back to the steady green or flashing green. Then you know you've got a good compass calibration. Best thing then to do is to power down and then either put a fresh battery in or power it back up again. Once you power it up, let it boot back up, get a GPS lock, set your IOC if you need to, and then take off and enjoy the new gear.
Phantom Tall landing gear is available now from eBay seller UC Top FPV, and we'll also have a link down in the description below. Thanks for watching.